Hi, welcome to Surviving Schizophrenia with Steven. My name is Steven. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today, I'm here with my dad,
I'm Steve, Steven's dad.
and we're going to talk about the clozapine REMS program. But before that, I just want to let you know how I'm doing right now. I'm not doing very well. The last few days, I've been very depressed and down and sad. I think it's partly because everyone not everyone, but a lot of people just graduated from school or they're off for summer, probably, I don't know, in my head doing stuff with their friends, and I'm not doing any of that. What have you noticed?
Right, I've seen that as well in the last few days. Just Steven's kind of down and kind of, you kind of see the flatness that's in his effect, and that's how it's really expressed. But I think it's we're looking forward to the next few days, hopefully.
Hopefully it'll get better.
Yeah,
and you'll probably notice in this video, I don't look the greatest. So what is clozapine REMS?
Okay, clozapine REMS, and REMS stands for Risk Evaluation and Mitigation Strategy. So the clozapine REMS program is a program in the United States. It's a safety program required by the FDA to manage the risk of severe neutropenia associated with clozapine treatment. And every country has one of these programs similar to this, but this is the clozapine REMS program is the program in the United States, but other countries have similar programs to monitor the white blood cell count. So neutropenia occurs when you have too few of a certain type of white blood cells called neutrophils. So the program is designed to have the patient's blood tested regularly to determine the absolute neutrophil count in the blood of that type of white blood cell. Because if the white blood cells count drops to a low level, then the patient or the person receiving the clozapine treatment can become very severely ill because white blood cells are necessary to fight infection. So that's the program in the United States. There are three aspects to the REMS program. One is the healthcare providers, usually the psychiatrist, would have to be certified through the program to be able to prescribe clozapine. And then the pharmacies also would have to be certified. So that's the second aspect. So the first is the healthcare provider has to be certified. The pharmacies have to be certified to receive it and dispense it. And then there's patient responsibilities associated with the clozapine REMS program. So Stephen, what are the patient's responsibilities?
Yeah, so for me, since I do take clozapine and clozaril, I have to take that medication regularly. For me, that's every day at 8:30 p.m. at night. So I have a timer set. I make sure I take it then. And I have to get my blood drawn once every 30 days so we can check that neutrophil count. And then I have a responsibility to tell my doctor, or at least my parents, to also then tell my doctor, if I feel ill, like a flu, or have a fever as well.
Right. So Stephen, talking about clozapine, Stephen's been on clozapine for about 8 years.
Yeah.
And again, just to recap, that's a second generation antipsychotic drug. It is used to treat primarily treatment-resistant schizophrenia, but it's prescribed for other reasons as well. And the treatment-resistant schizophrenia, that illness is indicated after the failure of 2 antipsychotic drugs to relieve the symptoms of psychosis. And approximately, the studies have shown, approximately 50% of people taking other antipsychotic drugs do not have a sufficient response or an adequate response to those drugs. It doesn't, those other antipsychotic drugs, in 50% of people with schizophrenia, approximately, don't relieve the symptoms of psychosis completely. And in those situations, the patient and the care provider should encourage the patient to talk to the doctor, talk to the psychiatrist, because there's no reason really that persistent psychosis should continue.
No.
In Stephen's case, he had persistent psychosis for a long time, many months, that was not relieved. But when we switched to clozapine, we saw a very rapid and fast resolution to his psychosis. And
I came back.
correct. He was an awakener shortly after starting clozapine, within a couple months. So clozapine is really a miracle drug.
Yeah.
And as far as our experience, though, with the REMS program, because it's been 8 years now.
Yeah.
So as kind of the day-to-day, our weekly process is, starting with getting the prescription from your doctor, right?
Yeah. Get the prescription from your doctor
For the blood draw.
for the blood draw. Well,
Yeah, the prescription would be for the blood draw.
that's right.
Yeah.
Get that confused.
Yeah.
So you get the prescription for the blood draw. You go and get your blood drawn, which is not a big deal. Then you go and they do their tests and they send the tests to the pharmacy and your doctor. You get your medicine from your pharmacy.
That's right.
Cycle repeats.
Right. So you've got to make a few, appointments here. You've got to make sure you've got the prescription for the blood draw. You got to get the appointments on a monthly basis with the lab to test the blood, to draw and test the blood. And then you have to coordinate with your pharmacy, to make sure they're getting the lab results, from the lab, and that they're also coordinating with your doctor, the psychiatrist, to get the okay from the psychiatrist on the check of the white blood cells, to say, okay, you can go forward and get the monthly allotment of the drug, clozapine. So it seems, it may appear that there's, a lot of work here, and I think that, a lot of paperwork and a lot of scheduling, and there is, in a way, we're not going to sugarcoat it.
No.
I wish that the blood draw requirement would be every 2 months or 3
that'd be
months
nice.
instead of monthly.
And I believe if you're first taking Clozaril or clozapine, you have to get your blood drawn more than that.
Right. The first 6 months it's weekly, and then the next 6 months, I believe, and this is again in the United States, but it's consistent, I believe, in other countries. So first 6 months it's weekly blood draws to check the count, the white blood cell count, and the next 6 months it's every other week, and then it's monthly after that. And the concern about the white blood cells, it's a serious concern, but the research has shown that if there's going to be a problem in clozapine reducing the white blood cell count, that's typically going to occur within the first couple months of treatment. That's not entirely the case, and that's why it has to be monitored.
But it's nothing to really worry about, especially after that time. I don't stress about it.
Right, exactly, and that's why that's why there's the clozapine REMS program and the similar programs in other country to monitor this, and so it's simply a matter of monitoring. It's just a monitoring program, and
Yeah.
So
Not a big deal.
yeah, not a big deal. It is a barrier to entry, though. It's and I think that's part of the problem with it being underprescribed, is that there's a barrier to entry, and the paperwork, and the fact that the psychiatrists have to monitor this and make sure the blood is drawn. It's a weekly basis, or a monthly basis after the first year. But it's there's some.
But you know what? For me, it's been worth it.
Right, exactly. The benefits vastly outweigh, what is essentially the hassle of making sure this all goes correctly and you get the blood drawn and everything. So, and if you miss a blood draw, you can get an emergency allotment of clozapine, but you've got to stay, true to the schedule. Otherwise, you can't get the medicine, and you can't go off the medicine quickly.
Cold turkey
either,
no.
or you've got other issues.
So I think that's all we got for this video. We hope you enjoyed it and hope you have a happy and healthy rest of your day.
Have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.